And now to the passing of conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh. Losing his battle with lung cancer, he launched an industry of voices on radio and cable, a champion to conservatives.
Hi, this is Frank Simon with the rest of the news, and our special guest today is Cindy Marlow. It's good to be here, and we wanted to go over some of the new Biden executive orders that he's already put in. The first one we wanted to mention is the Paris Climate Accord agreement. He's gone back into that.
He signed it on January 20th. It was done in Washington. He said, I do hereby accept the said agreement and every article and clause thereof on behalf of the United States of America. Zach was so kindly to give us a neat map.
Right.
He showed us this map, or this graph. You can see it here, and it shows where we peaked in our CO2 emissions in 2007, and it's steadily declined to the point now where it's leveled off. It's way under. It's interesting how the left talks about the emissions when we are one of the best in the world in how we emit it, or what we emit, because we have very good regulations. We have even clean coal now. And so it's interesting. He said this does not go with his administration and his imperatives on his administration's economic and climate imperatives. But what's sad, Dr. Simon, is the Keystone Pipeline. It says here, according to ABC News, they're going to halt over 1,000 jobs. But I had heard 10,000 at one point. Did you hear 10,000 over a period of years?
I'm not sure.
Because there's like lots and thousands of jobs up there.
And the price of gasoline's gone up already.
I know. So I just found that interesting. And then even Justin Trudeau from Canada said that he considers it an insult and said the federal Canadian government should impose trade sanctions if it's not reversed. So that's interesting that
they want
to invoke trade sanctions on us like Trump did toward the Chinese. And so it's kind of interesting that Trudeau had said that against Biden.
And the other thing is methane emissions were also down.
Yeah, it says here that CO2 emissions peaked around 2007. Like you said, Zach got this information for us, that our methane emissions peaked before that time, but it's still down, correct? So we're doing well on that, but yet they want to continue to rise up. That'll rise up your energy level, your electric bills, and everything. They don't care about that.
Biden has allowed transgender men to participate in women's sports, which is not fair to anybody.
Women's sport, where's the ERA people? And where is the women's movement when women were supposedly so suppressed for so many years? And here we have women's sports that's come around. They made great strides in basketball, track, and now they want a man. Transgender says he's a woman. They are built differently. There's some men that are small and some women that are big, but on the whole, men are stronger than women. That's just a fact.
They've always been there, under a rock somewhere.
So that's something we need to really call our legislators up in D.C. Please do some kind of legislation to change this, encourage them, because this is just asinine. It doesn't even make sense. Take God out of the equation. Men and women are different people. They're built differently.
It's just not fair to anybody.
What it says here in the Breitbart News, it unilaterally eviscerates women's sports, and that's what it does. You might as well get rid of them.
There's a lot going on. Here's another one that we talked about is Biden is pushing global fund for abortions. In other words, even outside the United States, he's trying to pay for abortions.
Looks like he signed this, an executive order, on January 21st on a Thursday afternoon. This is from White House to Corner News. Oh, no. Actual White House. From a White House correspondent. It says here, Jonathan Ernst.
Reuters.
Oh, sorry, I mispronounced that one wrong. It says here that it reversed the Mexico City policy permitting U.S. aid once again to fund groups that provide or promote abortion around the globe.
Can you believe that?
To me, I'm like, they don't want to give us money to the churches, but they want us to give our money to promote killing babies. Sir, that don't make sense, does it?
It doesn't make any sense at all.
It's just, but this is what Biden has done now, you all. Tomorrow will be a month that he was inaugurated. There's a lot more executive orders he's done.
He's pushing abortion every direction. Oh, here's another one about abortion. The most pro-abortion Secretary of Health and Human Services ever. That's for ACLJ.
Well, this guy, his name is Attorney General Xavier Becerra. I saw him the other day on TV.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Hitler. He's just really very adamant. You can tell he doesn't respect or honor life. And he has vindictively targeted pro-lifers like AA pregnancy health centers.
Oh,
what he's done is out California, I think also in North Carolina just last summer or a year or two ago, even under Obama, but also he has been making a campaign to where these centers that help women that go in, they want them to have literature about abortion or they're going to shut them down. That's like us going into their abortion clinic and giving them literature that says abortion is sinful. They wouldn't allow that.
No.
So this man is dangerous, and he's nominated him for Secretary of Health and Human Services. It says here that he wants to punish and shut down pro-life pregnancy centers at the Supreme Court. He wants to let the Supreme Court do it. It said here he sued Little Sisters of the Poor to force them to pay for abortion pills. Remember that? And not only in California, but he also wants gender-based selective abortions to be not only in California, but he wants it nationwide. Like if you want a boy
and you get a girl, they should kill the girl.
It's sad. So it says here that CLJ, we need a call that says here to ask our senators to reject his nomination because he has to be nominated.
He has to be approved.
And his name once again is Xavier, and it's spelled Xavier, and last name is Becerra. B is a boy, Ecerra, and he used to be the California Attorney General. So we have
a lot of problems to work.
We have one more here too about the border. He's even opening the border again, allowing different people to come in, unvetted.
The criminals.
He thinks that other people need to be able to come in and live in our country. And he signed this, it looks like, on February 18th. It effectively rolled back the efforts of Trump's administration to reduce that surge about when we were all coming over on the train.
That's right.
In unlawful crossings at the border. What Biden said, he's eliminating a bad policy. One thing about the left and the Democrats is they want us to pay our taxes. They want us to have our car insurance. They want us to obey the laws. But it's okay for other people to come in and not obey their laws, give them money for not working. They can get on Social Security even if they haven't contributed to Social Security. And to me, it's like they punish the law-abiding citizen, and we know what it's for. They want their votes. And it's not about the good of the country. It's about them staying in control.
And if it doesn't work, then they'll just cheat on the election like they did last time.
Well, I'm hoping there are several states. I think North Carolina was one of them, but Georgia. My son was telling me this, that they're trying to get rid of their Dominion machines. So if all these states can do that, unless, unfortunately, left goes to other states to get them to have Dominion machines. But
all of these documentaries like Absolute Proof.
Yes, Mike Lindell. That was really good, wasn't it? Why can't they do something with it? Why can't they go to some court, some judge? It's like they can't go anywhere with any of this proof. And it's like we're being stopped and we have it in front of us, but we can't get anything done with it. Look what they did to poor Trump. So if you think that what they did to him, they're not going to do to us, think about it. And what they did. Oh, I heard today's clip of Rush. He had interviewed Thomas, the Supreme Court justice that's up there now.
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. I knew it was Thomas. And he asked him. He was just married. They'd just been married a few years. He was 43 at the time. She was 34. I think they were married 4 years. And they asked him to be on the Supreme Court. And he really didn't know if he wanted to be, but he felt like it was an honor. And he was going to try to do what he could to preserve our freedoms. And he said, "You don't sound bitter." Rush said, "You don't sound bitter." He says, "I can't afford to be bitter." He said,
Clarence Thomas said
yes,
that.
I am here to do what God's asked me to do and to help preserve our freedom. And he was just a wonderful interview. They ostracized him so bad.
Oh, yes.
And it's
terrible.
It is. So it's a breath of fresh air. Is that right? Breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
To hear his voice again, interviewing such a man like
Rush.
And hear him talk to Clarence. And we had a lot of good men over the years, but one of the greatest men in America, Dr. Simon, you want to talk about him?
Yeah, this is Rush Limbaugh. He's one of the great radio talk show hosts. He died at 70. He had a cochlear implant because he went deaf.
A few years ago.
He's written 7 books. He was, I think, 70 years old.
Yeah, he died at 70. He just turned 70 in January.
So he's a tremendous person, and he got the award from President Trump.
Last January, a year ago, last year, it's for the American Patriot Freedom Award. Do you know the name of it, Zach? The Freedom Patriot Award, I think.
Medal of Freedom.
Medal of Freedom.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Most every American family knows the pain when a loved one is diagnosed with a serious illness. Here tonight is a special man, beloved by millions of Americans, who just received a stage 4 advanced cancer diagnosis. This is not good news, but what is good news is that he is the greatest fighter and winner that you will ever meet. Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country. In recognition of all that you have done for our nation, the millions of people a day that you speak to and that you inspire, and all of the incredible work that you have done for charity, I am proud to announce tonight that you will be receiving our country's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Also, he got indoctrinated. I heard this on Mark Stein when he was filling in. He said, I'm always going to say I'm filling in for the great Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, really?
And he said, even though he's passed, I'm always going to say that. And he played back a little bit of clips of his show where he was indoctrinated into the Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh.
And he's there with Marquand, Roosevelt. Very few people get into the Hall of Fame. And this was in Missouri. And the governor at the time didn't want him to be. They had showed a great big bust of him.
Of Rush?
Yeah, it was a bronze bust. And he said, we don't want to put him in our Capitol because he's too controversial. And Rush said, that's okay. I just feel honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was so humble. No matter what he did or what people did, he still crossed the lines and he helped people. Like when he was addicted to opioids, he was addicted to pain medicine many years ago. I had forgotten about that. They said even years later, when he'd hear of a Hollywood star or somebody known in public, he would go to them privately, not where anybody could hear. Mark Stein was talking about this the other day, talking about some things that he knows about him now. He never liked to share about what he did for others. He did a whole lot of stuff for people. He gave money. He helped people. He helped counsel them when they were addicted. He told them, let me tell you how I got through it. God helped him and the different things.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really a neat tribute to him. He was a jolly man, too. He made you laugh.
He never rustled papers, though, did he?
Oh, yes. Many years ago, probably around 90, about 2 years after he had started on his show in 88. And I went to my boss. His name was Frank also. He's now with the Lord. He was my boss in Lexington at the Republican headquarters there.
Oh, really?
Frank Schwinneman.
Oh, I knew Frank Schwinneman.
Yeah, you did. That's right. He passed on several years ago, about 8 years ago. But I remember when I first heard Rush, I came up to Frank. I didn't call him Frank. I always called him because that's just out of respect. And I said, sir, I don't understand what this Rush did. I said, he says these things and I'm not quite understanding. He said, just listen to him. Don't stop listening to him and then you'll get him. And honey, I was just hooked. And he says, you got to listen to him because if you just take one clip, you don't get him. You have to listen to the whole thing and listen to him for a while and then you'll get him. He was an amazing, amazing broadcaster. He's one of a kind.
I guess he's the top.
I think so, in my opinion. But what's my opinion? Okay. Well, let's see how much longer we have here.
We got a little while yet.
Okay. Well, then, do you want to talk about the
Biden?
We've already talked about all the Biden stuff. How about talking about some local stuff? So far, I was getting information.
There's Kent's issue.
Yeah, but we could talk about that too. But I wanted to know if you had heard anything. I haven't about the impeachment. I'm assuming they're not going to impeach the governor. Is that correct?
Looks that way.
Well, thank God that President Trump was not impeached. Well, wasn't convicted. He was acquitted. But yes, we also have some information locally. Here you go. That's your copy.
Okay.
All right, I think it's the wrong one. These are some bills that the Family Foundation, Ken Ostrander, would like us to pass or ask our senator to vote on. One of them is Senate Bill 83, and it's the Medical Ethics and Diversity Act. It provides religious liberty and conscience protection for medical professions like yourself.
Like you can't force a doctor to do an abortion.
Or to do a transgender elective surgery or whatever other things. And also cloning, harvesting fetal organs, assisted suicide, and surgical or hormonal treatments to accept changes in children's biological sex. I can't even believe we're talking about this.
I know.
Just years ago, people said I was crazy for talking about same-sex marriage. I remember my professor in college in late 90s said, oh, we're never going to have same-sex marriage.
Did he say that?
Yes. His name was Professor Swan, and we used to talk and get in real deep discussions. He was kind of moderate. He wasn't real liberal, but he was pretty liberal. He said, no way, we're never going to go that route. And I said,
famous last words.
Yes. And then the other one, you want to read that one, Dr. Simon, Senate Bill 97?
The Parents' Right Protection Act would affirm that the rights of parents are fundamental rights. The government would need to prove it had a compelling interest, such as the protection of a child from abuse, before it infringes on the rights of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing of their own children.
And that's another sad thing to think that we have to have laws to protect parents to be able to raise their children as they deem fit.
Now, Ken said there was something else coming up that he wanted help with.
Actually, he was going to email that to me, and I hadn't gotten onto the email yet. He wants us to do a phone call on it, too. I don't remember. That's on February 25th. I remember seeing that as well. Maybe we'll find that real fast to give you all information here.
Maybe you could put out an email of that.
Yes, that'd be good.
225. Wow, that's just around the corner.
Here's Dr. Simon, so there's yours. But I think it was on here, actually.
220. That's
here
a Thursday.
Here it is. It's a Thursday evening. It's called a town hall meeting. It looks like it's a Fiesta Braha. It's B-R-A-U-A. Sounds like a restaurant. Fiesta, B-R-A-U-A. It's at 100 Tanglewood Drive.
What's the address again?
There it is, 100 Tanglewood Drive in Taylorsville, Kentucky. That's this Thursday. Looks like from 6 p.m. and you can order dinner.
Okay.
I think we all need to go to that. Let's see what he's going to talk about. He said the topics of discussion will be the next 4 years of the future of the Republican Party and Constitutional Kentucky's focus on liberty, Constitution, education. That sounds good. Okay, so thank you, Zach, for giving us that reminder. Also, Dr. Simon, we have a few minutes left, 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Simon, I want to also talk about how, even though there's a lot of people in despair about what happened with Trump and
the election,
God was gently reminding me through the Bible, it wasn't easy. Nothing is good. Your life isn't good all the time. Life is hard. But if you look at the sky and the birds and the flowers and the rivers and streams, America's beautiful. We have a beautiful country.
That's right.
And I guess it all boils down to life just isn't easy. It ain't easy, Greasy. That's what my daddy used to say.
What?
It ain't easy, Greasy. So if you're despaired about Trump not being in, we just got to remember we need to fight the fight. I love always what you say, contend for
the faith.
And I don't know, I had a peace even before the November 3rd. It's like, it was very sad. If you think you win by cheating, you didn't win. You're still the loser. But in the end of time, justice will be served. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
And the other thing,
and we got to remember that.
That it's never over till the fat lady sings. In other words, there's more to it.
There's more to it. More will come. But also God revealed to me this last few months too, that we are to have joy even in the midst of trials. Look what Paul encountered. Prison, and what did God do? He set him free. What did he do for Daniel in the lion's den? What did he do for the men in the fire? in the midst of really bad times, all through the biblical history, there's so many you could, even when John was on the island of Patmos, look what he did. God revealed to him vision of the future. And so if we look at it from that perspective, from an eternal perspective instead of an earthly perspective, it's easier to live. Because sometimes you can go crazy if they go, why did they do this? Why did God allow this? God is in control, and he allows everything to happen for a reason. Some people say, well, then why does he allow murder? Why does he allow sin? Well, that's human choices. If he made us all be like robots, then the left wouldn't be around, would they? Everybody, including us, because we're far from perfect. So we have to remember God give us free will, but there is joy at the end of the tunnel, and that's Jesus. That's what he's been really working with that with me, because so many people are in despair. They're just really depressed about all this, and you just got to look up to the joys in the heaven, and look how Jesus was. He was born in what? In a manger, in a cave, and with the lowly. So I guess what we'll do now, Dr. Simon, is we'll put out some emails with this other bill for Kent, and then we'll also put out an email.
Oh, and for
Constitution of Kentucky, right? But also, let's discuss this, is that Trevor Landau that's going to be in March 20th in New Albany.
Somebody was just telling me about.
I was telling you that yesterday, unless someone's told you again today. Her name's Tamara. I've become friends with her, and she is putting this on. She's just an older person like myself. I have the information here. I can announce that, too.
Now, that's the
March
20th?
20th. That's a month from now. It's going to be held at the Unfinished Church, 1421 East Elm Street. You have that?
No.
New Albany, Indiana. It's going to be 1 to 4. Well, when I was talking to you about that, you said you'd heard of him, and I had never heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a world-renowned speaker on communist, the manifesto of how they infiltrate governments, and they get into churches, organizations like ourselves, all things to bring down the true spirit of American politics, American patriotism, and Christianity. They want to bring it into communist manifesto kind of thing.
Now, where is that going to be?
In New Albany, Indiana, and it will be held at the Unfinished Church and 1421 East Elm Street.
1421 East Elm.
Yes. I just got this information, and I'm going to put out an email on that separately from these.
What time?
1 to 4. And there'll be a Q&A afterwards as well. And she said to invite everybody, all Americans who love freedom and love our America and love Jesus.
Trevor's last name?
Loudon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Do you know? Landau or Landau? It's Loudon.
The movies that we did on the plan or something like that.
Agenda?
The Agenda.
With Curtis Bauer.
He was in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I have to go back and look at that. Okay.
I guess there were two of them.
Yeah, there was Agenda
1 and Agenda 2. Well,
yeah.
He was in, I think, Agenda 1.
Okay.
And he's very good.
Okay.
So I want to make sure we go to see that, and if you can get the information out to as many people as possible.
Yes. So we need to make an effort, all of us, to go. But I think we've done enough. I think we've got plenty.
Yeah. Oh.
Exactly 28 minutes.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week for the rest of the news.
God bless you.
Thank you.
This Christmas Eve, in his final show of the year, radio great Rush Limbaugh had a message for his listeners that had nothing to do with politics.
My point in all of this today is gratitude. My point in everything today that I shared with you about this is to say thanks and to tell everybody involved how much I love you from the bottom of a sizable and growing and still beating heart. I wasn't expected to be alive today. You have an expiration date. A lot of people never get told that, and so they don't face life this way. I've learned what love really is during this.
Important message. You can listen and watch more of it online. Limbaugh announced last February that he'd been diagnosed with advanced lung cancer.
On May 29, 1945, Lieutenant Royal Stratton, a 22-year-old rescue pilot, led a mission to save the lives of 9 airmen adrift in enemy waters of the South Pacific. He would never return home. This is a journey to know the man through the people who loved him, who served with him, and who witnessed the events of that fateful day. It is a quest that will lead through some of the most pivotal events of the war, and it will all begin with a call for help.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. We are preparing to ditch. Do you copy? Over.
It was a scary thing because you just don't know how long you're going to be.
There were Dumbos, rescue PBYs flown by the American Army Air Corps. We had code words for them, and we used them.
My pilot was Royal Stratton. We were in that area searching.
You better pray to God.
Half of the crews that we went over with were lost. I was extremely thankful when I saw the PBY flying over.
We were in Japanese waters, shooting ducks.
Get this man aboard!
Probably 100th of a second there between this total disaster and us coming out safe.
With the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
We want to leave a legacy of peace and harmony all over the world.
We're out there to save lives rather than to take lives.
You can't imagine the feeling that you have inside as you and these men save those lives.
We are all going home!
Hi, I'm Dr. Frank Simon. I'm an allergist and family doctor, board certified in both allergy and internal medicine. I specialize in allergy, headaches, sinus, hives, cough, asthma, hypertension, and diabetes. We're located at 1404 Browns Lane near Norton Suburban Hospital. Our phone number is 895-5088. We can see you tomorrow.
Trump wants a library. He must never have one. That's the headline of the story. It's a long story. It goes on. It's filled with blah, 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 blah. They're deathly afraid that Trump is going to triumphantly return to public life. And I'm not saying triumphantly return to the presidency. But they're not going to be able to stop this. They're not going to be able to stop Trump from having a public life if he wants it.